review this QTC instructional and informative video. QTC, Quick TruCost, was created and launched back in 2000, and since then over 500 systems have been sold worldwide. In order to start the program, you put your ID and password and hit enter. The system has been converted to Spanish for this particular presentation, but obviously you can choose several different languages. When you press the Add and Edit button, you're able to bring in all of the analyses that have been done over the years. You can search for a particular kind, like a shirt, and there you have all the shirts that are in the system. I'm going to choose a simple polo shirt just to run through the system for you. So again, go in here and choose polo, and there it brings up just one shirt. Let me choose another one at this time, because I know there was one other one that I wanted to look at. Let me scroll through. You can identify them through style, model, description, many different types of options for choosing the style that you want to work with. Now that I've chosen it, I bring it up and look at the details. There's a name, a style name, model, description. I was able to search for that particular garment by placing the shirt in this product and then bringing the shirts into view. Although the system does not show you how much time under the needle and how much time manually there are, it is tracked behind the scenes. So we have put 25% sewing allowance and 15% manual, which means we're adding an extra 10% to the machine delay time for this garment. The rate per hour for this particular company was $3 per hour. I think they were in Peru. The factory efficiency is 80%, and we put an additional 24% of direct labor additional labor on top of it. You're able to fill out these different fields by customizing the language field. We have not done this for this particular demonstration. The first thing we do is go to the COSAR, or sewing. This is either tracking the length of sew in either inches or centimeters, depending how you set up your system initially. And in my opinion, the best way to handle it is not talking about operations, but talking about sew points. So we've started at the top, which is the collar, and we move down. You notice I've identified the sew point and then measured it. Identified the other sew point and measured it, etc., through the entire garment. From there, we go to seams, or costuras. Instead of retyping everything, we've saved the engineers some time, or the analysts some time, by copying the information from the sew area into the seam area. You see, however, that the value for this particular area has defaulted to 1, and then you go down the list and change it to the number of seams that were actually in that particular sew. You notice that when we went through the process in the beginning, knowing that there was a shoulder seam, we actually added them together and put a 2 in there, knowing that the shoulder seam was actually 24 inches or centimeters. I forget which we measured at first, and it contained 2 seams. That's the process that we go through. As far as parts, we identify the part and how many there are. That's the collar, the tape, the sleeves, cuffs, inner lining, labels. Obviously, each part that you must pick up contributes to the labor of the garment. Match points, or alinear alignments, are probably one of the most important areas that we could consider in quick TruCost. The match points are contributory to the quality of the garment. Different types of material may need additional stops because of the way they're handled. Silk would be more difficult to handle than 100% cotton, etc. So as we talk about each seam, we talk about from start to finish, putting the assembly under the needle to when you cut the thread at the end, how many times have you had to stop? And each one of these is denoting the results of that. Esquinas, or corners, very easy to depict. The placket, of course, had 3. The placket rectangle had 4, and the vent on each side of the bottom had 2 each. Moving on to remates, or backtacks, we identified in the placket there were 3 different areas. The vents needed a backtack, and so did the closed cuff, in order to prevent any seam opening. Next is buttons. All we do is identify where they are and how many. There were 3 placket buttons, and we noted the value there. Ojales, or buttonholes, again, for 3 buttons we had 3 buttonholes. Persilas is a bar tack. A bar tack, in order to prevent the opening up of the top of the vent, we put the client that we helped cost this garment had 2 bar tacks, and there weren't any brooches or persillas. Those are really the copper studs on jeans, maybe the hook and eye on a waistband in a men's pair of pants or a woman's pair of pants. These are all applied with a machine, and they are identified if required. The simpleness of this is that we go back to the list of the kimonos polo, we identify it, and we go to print. There are several options to print: header and detail, just header alone, which I will use, and when you do, go to the print to screen, the product costing finalization will come up. As you see, you can attach a drawing of some kind, a picture, a JPEG, a drawing, whatever. The system always gives you 100% minutes. And of course, at the prescribed $3 an hour, it will also give you cost per piece. As far as total minutes is concerned, because the factory was an 80% factory, we have an increase from almost 13 minutes up to 16.1 minutes, and of course, the price per garment has also gone on as far as labor is concerned. The interesting part is that you know exactly how many sewing inches. Here, the inches or centimeters will be identified on the final printout, so there's no question as to what you used, inches or centimeters, for this particular garment. It'll tell you in a capture summary that how many sewing inches, how many seams, how many parts, how many alignments or match points, corners, backtacks, etc. What's interesting is that, excuse me, I just changed the zoom of the printout. But from here, you know what it was. We looked at it today. May 22nd, 2011 at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. And everything else is very, very condensed. If I printed out the whole report, you would have each of the additional pages where we chose each of the fields or tabs in the total cost. Let me close this for 1 minute and tell you about an additional printout that we've created for a multinational type company. The header in, the report, management report, is a very cool report that gives you a lot of information without you doing any of the arithmetic or multiplication yourself. You actually have different countries of manufacture, their salaries per hour, the fabrication efficiency, and you also have 100% and of course the fabric efficiency. So you have all of the necessary information to help you decide which country or factory that you will manufacture this in if you have a multi-plant or multicultural operation. I hope this helped. Again, this is Quick TruCost 8.04, our latest version. I hope you, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me, but this would be a good video to revisit anytime there that you want to see what QTC can do for you. Thank you very much for your attention. My email address is john, John, @methodsworkshop.com. Look forward to hearing from you, and thanks for the time during this review. Have a great day.